Hello and welcome, my philosophical leaves. Today we are watching how a failed challenge run changed my mind about Nintendo's design philosophy by Steve Gaming. Leave a subscription and a like, and let's get into the video now.
So I recently finished Echoes of Wisdom, and after finishing the game, I came back to it
Great game, in my opinion. Really great game.
and attempted a challenge run. This video is about this challenge run, except it kinda isn't, but one thing after the other. You see, Echoes of Wisdom is this really unique game, featuring dozens and dozens of interesting and creative echoes.
Okay, I'm not sure what he will be talking about, but first off, my statement in regards to how a game is designed and if your challenge run goes well or not. Games are not made for challenge runs. They are made to play them as intended, basically. So, if some kind of challenge run doesn't work out, that's not the fault of the game being badly designed. That would just be stupid. But I have seen Pokemon fans complain about Scarlet Violet and stuff because they cannot do a Nuzlocke anymore because Pokemon are now visible on the overworld, which is like, yeah, okay, you say the game is bad because of that, but really, the game is not made to be Nuzlocked. It's nice to have a Nuzlocke, sure, you can do that. Nuzlocks can be fun, but you cannot expect the game to cater to that. The game is made to be the game it is, not to be the game that you want to make out of it. Maybe this is not what this is all about. Just, take a game as it is supposed to be played, not as you wanna play it. Basically.
Echoes that Zelda learns over the course of the game. Dozens of interesting and creative echoes that she can summon at will. Yet all those interesting echoes were not what I was interested in. Instead, I was asking myself a question. I was wondering whether it is possible to beat Echoes of Wisdom with only the very first echo we learn, the table. Is it possible to solve all the
No. Actually, I think no. Because some enemies need to be beaten in a certain way, and some puzzles need, like, ice and fire stuff. So I don't think it is possible. Huh. The one complaint I have about Echoes of Wisdom is that I like that you get, like, a ton of echoes, but the menu to choose them is too big. Like, if it was 2 or 3 lines, so you can not only go from left to right, but up and down, you would have, like, a bit more control of the things you have.
challenges the game throws in our way, summoning nothing but a table. So I was very much expecting the answer to this question to be a no, but I was curious to give it a try nonetheless. And thus I booted up Echoes of Wisdom, made a new save file, grabbed my table, and went onto a grand adventure. A grand adventure that I abandoned halfway through. I did not finish the challenge run. I did not finish the run because the game frustrated me to no end. And the thing that frustrated me is not a problem that I have specifically with Echoes of Wisdom, but it is a problem that I have with almost all modern Nintendo games. So this
Okay. I know he hasn't told us what the problem was now, but you do a challenge run using only the table and something frustrated you. So far, that sounds like, well, you're playing the game like the opposite of what it is intended. You are intended, like, the intention of the game is to use all those different echoes to solve puzzles and things, and you refuse to use those. So, I know people always say you cannot play a game wrong, but actually you can play a game wrong, and so far this sounds just like you're playing the game wrong. Okay. Too bad your challenge run didn't work out, but it's a challenge run. That happens. It's not, like I said, made for this specific challenge. But let's see what his complaint is.
video is about the question of whether it is possible to beat Echoes of Wisdom with nothing but a table. It is, however, also about the question of why I abandoned to figure out the answer to this question halfway through my run. And it is about a much bigger problem that I have with modern Nintendo's design philosophy that I feel isn't brought up enough. So in this video, we'll go on an unusual journey. We'll first retrace my steps through Echoes of Wisdom, equipped with nothing but a table. Halfway through the video, we'll take a sharp turn, abandon this very challenge, and instead discuss why I decided to abandon it, and what all of this has to do with a certain aspect of Nintendo's modern design philosophy that I think is hurting their games. The structure of the video is a bit unusual, but don't worry, I'm about 61% certain that everything will make sense in the end. Awesome, so the table is set, we have quite a meal in front of us. Before we start, just one more thing. Judging by the state of my comment section, I think some of you wonderful people think that I'm dead, which I'm super happy to report that, to the best of my knowledge, I'm not. Actually, I've been super duper active on YouTube the last year, just over on the other channel, something that I think a couple of you wonderful people might have missed. So if you're interested in watching more silly, not so little videos after this one, there are over a dozen.
Why did the 3D platformer genre disappear? But it did not. Like, Mario Odyssey... Okay, Mario Odyssey is a bit older now, but like... It's not like it really disappeared. Okay, weird.
Of hours of perfectly silly videos over on the Thief Perspective channel, including a deep dive into the 1000-Year Door and Mario Wonder, retrospectives on lots of Zelda games, and an exploration on why the 3D platformer genre fell out of favor. In case you missed the channel, and if this sounds interesting...
Yeah, Astro Bot is a 3D platformer, so what? It's not really that.
To you, there are links to it in the description. Awesome. So let's learn something about Nintendo's modern design philosophy, starting at the only logical beginning point, by figuring out how far the 4 legs of a table can carry us into Echoes of Wisdom. Gentle ladies, gentlemen, and given the current state of the states, especially all you gentle people in general, are you ready? Well then let's do this.
Okay, like, I have one critique already. We are 3 minutes in, and nothing so far was really said. It was all the setup of what to expect of this video, and it's like... Now we're getting into it. Like, that's like a long time. I kinda hate that you have to go right into it with a video. But, you know, like, a bit of an intro is fine, but 3 minutes? Holy hell.
After a short introduction sequence, Echoes of Wisdom begins with Zelda imprisoned in a cell. The door is locked, the gap in the wall unreachable, and our only chance to escape, well, our only chance to escape is with our new best friend, the table. In this room, we learn our first and only Echo. So what can we do with a table? One might ask. Well, first, we can jump on top of it. Second, well, that's pretty much it so far. All that we can do for now is to hop onto the table and to hop off it again. Luckily for us, it is possible to escape the prison without learning any of the other useless echoes, because the table gives us just enough height to make all the jumps, which is great. You see, the thing that actually had me worried the most was if it is possible to even make it through the very beginning of the game until we learn the linking ability. The ability to link Zelda to echoes is something that we can use, since linking is obviously not an echo, and it is something that should come in really handy because it allows us to manipulate our tables to our likings and use objects and enemies in our environment. But until we learn this very vital skill, there is literally nothing we can do but to trust our wooden companion to somehow deal with the problems ahead. Which brings us to the very first problem ahead, the terrible crate wall. You see, after escaping the prison, we head through a well, and in this area, the game wants us to learn the rock echo. The rock is heavy. The game now wants us to drop one of those heavy rocks onto one of those crates, because the heavy weight of the heavy rock heavily pushes the crate down, opening an exit. Which brings us to the little problem in front of us. Our table ain't as heavy as a rock. We just can't summon enough weight for the dumb crate to sink down. We didn't even leave the tutorial area and are already hard stuck. is what I would say if it wasn't for a small but really useful table trick that we haven't talked about yet. You see, when people think about the tables in their lives, they usually think about them like a good friend whom they enjoy to sit down with. Maybe they think about their table as a platform that they can joyfully stand upon. What most people do not consider, however, when they think about their favorite tables is how dangerous a table actually is. You see, a table is not just a peaceful, inanimate object of quietude. Given the right circumstances, a table can be transformed into a...
Okay, honestly, quite honestly, don't talk around the bush that much. Okay, I am also not a fan of, like, this content you have to do, which is like boom, 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 fact, 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 fact. No, like, making a joke here and there is okay, but, like, don't stretch this out. You have a problem with some kind of design philosophy based on your challenge run. But you, like, for 2 minutes now explain how to get over that tutorial area by using some kind of trick. Get to the trick already, please.
Deadly weapon. And what are those circumstances, I hear you ask? Well, dropping a table onto something from far above, of course. Because a falling table ouches extraordinarily when landing, and the tables of Echoes of Wisdom are...
Okay, I criticized, so I have to also give an example of how to do this. So instead of going like, oh, tables are friends, blah, 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 why not go like, okay, but how can a table get us through this if it's not heavy enough? And then basically show a clip of somebody like throwing a table out of a window. You can find something like that. Some clip like that to convey table heavy, let table fall in a much more quick manner, which would be much more funnier because punchlines need to come bam. Not like, it's like he is over explaining a joke.
Are no different. You see, if we first build ourselves a platform that is 1 block high and then jump, then the table causes damage when it lands. Quick break here. It is important that we are more than 1 block above the object we desire to attack with a table. If we wouldn't jump here, the table attack would fail and the table would uselessly land on all of its 4 legs. Just pointing this out because it will cause us a lot of headache soon. Whoosh, there goes the crate, and our first roadblock is shattered. Up to the beach. The beach is the area where we usually would learn our very first combat echo, which immediately confronts us with our next problem. We do not have the Sword Fighter form unlocked yet. The Sword Fighter form allows us to transform our princess into an image of Link and to fight with a sword while transformed. Something we can't do yet. As a matter of fact, we can't attack anything. We only serve in tables. But, as we just established, sometimes it is not the swing of the sword that hurts the most.
Yes.
Sometimes it is the falling table. Tables do not only destroy nasty crates when they drop on them.
Yes.
As it turns out, we can defeat enemies by table attacking them as well.
Again, say, okay, we haven't unlocked the sword fight form yet, so how can we defeat it? And then just show the table drop. Just show it. That would, like, be funny, and convey the message in less than 2 minutes. Which, it's a little piece of information. It shouldn't take that long. It's like doing, like, math and 2 times 2. You solve that by using some kind of taking the root out of something. There is probably a really roundabout way to do that, but it's 2 times 2. It's 4. Easy.
Which is really good news, because we have to defeat a bunch of the green slime enemies in this cave for the exit to open up. Once the tables have dropped and the enemies have died, the path forward is open. And would you believe it? We actually made it to the part where we learn the linking ability. The ability to link our brave princess to objects in her environment is incredibly useful if we want to make it through the game with only a table. First, it allows us to carry random game elements from one place to another, which single-handedly allows us to solve most problems that the overworld could ever throw into our path. But second, and even more important, it allows us to build table staircases. You see, most people that...
And so, one other thing. Turn this into 2 videos. This is a video about how you failed this challenge run. But this also is supposedly a video about Nintendo's design philosophy that you will criticize. So why not make this video for the challenge run and then at the end say, hey, also check out this video that explains why whatever it is I don't like about Nintendo's design philosophy. Make those two separate videos because, yeah, and in the design philosophy video, you can in the beginning say, hey, this is based on this challenge run, so if you haven't watched that, go back, watch that. That would have been like more digestible sized videos, and also 2 videos with a point each instead of 1 video with 2 points. That one might be interesting to one and the other might not be interesting to somebody. Like, you know, it's kind of messy.
Played the game probably realized that it is possible to reposition echoes on echoes in such a way that we can build a staircase. What a lot of people probably missed, however, is how far apart the items can actually be stacked on top of each other. It is actually possible to put tables onto the very edge of tables to create incredibly
I did not know
reaching
that.
table bridges. Those bridges allow us to solve pretty much every horizontal navigation problem in the game. So gentle ladies, gentlemen, and gentle people in general, with this we actually have a decent tool set. For the first time since we left the prison cell, we actually have a diverse set of tools to deal with the problems. Sadly, however, those tools aren't capable of solving our next problem. You see, we're now in the tutorial dungeon, and in the middle of the tutorial dungeon, we run into this room. Here the game wants us to light up 2 torches. Which is a problem for us because we do not do fire. We obviously skip the torch echo. Luckily for us, our savior, the table, has one final trick up its legs. It's made of wood. Wood burns. If we move the table over a flame, it ignites. If we now grab the table again, then we actually carry a candle.
That is
and this
cool,
table-made candle can ignite the torches. Hooray! Gentle ladies, gentlemen, and gentle people in general, with this we already reached the end of the introduction dungeon. There is just one more challenge ahead of us, the boss fight against Echo Link. If we somehow defeat him, we learn the sword fighter ability. This little guy is the final obstacle between us and a combat ability that is slightly more flexible than dropping tables on things. If we somehow manage to beat Link here, it single-handedly solves almost all our combat problems. But to get this incredibly powerful ability, we first have to prove that we are worthy of it. We have to defeat Link with only a table. So the good news is that there are some elevations in the boss room that make it possible to table attack Link. The bad news is that Link is a full block in size. So we just established earlier that the table only deals damage if we drop it onto something from more than a full block above. Since Link is a block in height, we can only damage him if we build a 2-table high structure on one of the elevated areas and then jump off of this structure while Link is on the lower layer and while precisely dropping the table onto Link's head. Something that is surprisingly difficult for a couple of reasons. So first, Link is really fast. He follows us.
It is still playing the game pretty much not as it is intended, so... The video is named How a Failed Challenge Run Changed My Mind About Nintendo's Design Philosophy. So what is now the problem about this? Like, you're playing the game in this weird challenge way, which you can do, you can have fun with that, it's fine, but it's not something you can complain about being, like, badly to execute because you're playing the game not as intended. So, point here is... Yeah, we will not get to that, I assume.
Through the room quickly, permanently attacking us. He's so fast that it is really difficult to manipulate his AI to be at the right spot at the right time so that we can attack him. Second, well, the annoying little guy does not only damage us with his attacks, he also tears down our beautiful table constructs, which means we have to rebuild the platform from which we jump onto him over and over again. And third and finally, well, you see, as much as I love the incredible versatility of a table, even I have to admit that table attacking deals very little damage to enemies. We have to drop so many tables on Link's head to defeat him. It is honestly absurd. To make matters even worse, Link always attacks us when we jump towards him while dropping a table, which makes the whole endeavor surprisingly dangerous. Beating Link here with nothing but a table is really difficult, but we're a princess on an important mission. If a swordsman tries to stand between us and our table, then we have to fight, and thus we pull out our table and drop it. At first, I wasn't even able to hit Link. When I finally hit him for the first time, I was enthusiastic, only to realize that I had not dropped the table from high enough. Instead of hurting Link, I had just equipped him with a new stylish table hat. Then I managed to hit him for the very first time, only to die shortly after. But little by little, and table by table, I fought back. And to be honest with you, Link was kicking my bottom here. He destroyed my table structures, he slashed me with his sword, he glitched out instead of taking damage, he dodged, he jumped, he ran and he pushed back against my desperate attempts to drop furniture onto him. And all the while, I could see in his eyes that he was asking himself a question. Why does the guy only use tables? But at this point, giving up was off the table. Would it be possible to beat the game with only the table echo? Probably not, but that is no longer the priority. Link just made this personal. I may not be able to get the credits to roll with nothing but a table, but I certainly won't be stopped by a little boy thinking he's a hero. Who does he think he is? He doesn't even have a fairy. He's certainly not going to prevent me from tabling myself through the game. And little by little, the tables slowly turned. Table by table, I was able to whittle him down. I was dropping tables onto him from the left and the right, over and over and over again. Really, it takes so many tables to defeat him, but after fighting for over an hour, I finally emerged victorious. Is what I thought, but as it turns out, it was just the first phase. There's actually a second one. Turns out
You played this game before, you said. And you didn't know about that? Like, I remember that, and it's been a while since I played this game, so... Huh? And so before a challenge run, you, like, prepare for these things, you know?
we only made it to the halfway point. We have to do it all again, but this time Link moves faster. It took me almost another hour until I finally dropped the final table onto Link's stupid grin. Who is laughing now? And with this, we learn the sword fighter ability. We actually managed to beat the entire tutorial dungeon, learning only the table echo. Hooray! Sadly, this is where this run comes to an end. The game now opens up. We can either proceed into the Gerudo Desert or into the Sora area, and both areas require us to learn a second ugly echo. In the Gerudo area, we reach this room early. Here the game wants us to use a mole echo, so that the mole can dig a hole through the sand for us. This room is on the critical path through the Gerudo questline, and there's just no way to remove the sand for us without summoning one of the dumb moles. The Sora quest confronts us with a similar problem. Here we have to grab an energy ball that is locked behind a bombable wall. The wall can only be destroyed by a bombfish. There is a bombfish early in the room, but we can't bring it to this spot because we can only reach it if we use the bombfish earlier. There is sadly nothing we can do here. Our table only run ends here. Alright, so I know what at least one of you wonderful viewers.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's just fair. You play the game, like, the game intends you to use different echoes, so if you don't do that, don't expect to be able to beat it. It's like trying to beat Super Mario Odyssey without walking. Just, yeah, okay. Without moving forward. Let's say it like that, because you could jump and instead of walking, just jump and get, yeah, okay, but challenge runs sometimes don't work out because you take something away from the game to make the challenge that is maybe crucial to continue. That's why Nuzlockes usually have that rule of you can use HM Pokemon. Because otherwise you cannot beat these older games. It's just not possible. So, yeah, what's the bad thing Nintendo did here? Not cater to your challenging needs? Because, like, why would they?
Viewers is currently wondering, but what is the minimum amount of echoes that we need to learn to beat the game? And the answer is that a small YouTuber called Switch Summit actually asked himself the exact same question and made a wonderful video about it that I can wholeheartedly recommend. So if you're interested in learning the answer to this question, make sure to check out his video after you've watched this one. And the 15 hours of content on my other channel as well, of course. But there is actually another question that arises from us not being able to proceed with only a table here. The question of what is the fewest amount of non-table summons required to beat the game. You know, it might not be possible to avoid anything that isn't a table entirely, but we can make it through the game, summoning the absolute minimum amount of non-table entities possible. We can play through the game, optimizing our playthrough in such a way that we only summon things that aren't tables if there is absolutely no other way forward. Something that I imagine would be quite a fun optimization challenge. It was something that I actually wanted to take a look into, honestly more for fun than with the goal of making a video about it. But I didn't, and the reason why I didn't do this, even though it is something that interested me, finally brings us to the actual topic of this video.
It's 15 minutes in. The video is almost half over, and now you get to the point of the video. This is like if I would like make a video that's about, I don't know, giving certain characters partner Pokemon, like Pokemon teams, and start with talking about Digimon. Because, why would I, like, why don't I start with giving out those, like, oh, come on, like, why do it take this long to get to the point? I wasn't here for this challenge run. Hey, maybe I would have reacted to this challenge run, to be honest, if it was a separate video. But I was here to see what the problematic Nintendo design philosophy was here. And we're just getting to that now, so let's hope this is not dumb.
Because the reason why I decided not to mess around further with the game has something to do with Nintendo's current design philosophy. It is a problem that I have with almost all modern Nintendo games. That is the reason why I ultimately decided not to push the challenge any further. A terrible characteristic of Nintendo that actually had soured my experience with Nintendo games before. If someone were to put a bow to my head and were to ask me what my second favorite Echoes of Wisdom item would be, then I would almost certainly say the sign. So why the sign? I hear you sighing. Well, at first glance, the sign might look like a bit of an odd choice. We can't link ourselves to the sign, so we can't stack it. It can't be moved. We can't build fancy bridges with it. We can't jump on top of it. Heck, it's not even possible to defeat Link using only a sign. Why is the sign so special? Here's the thing. You see, if we summon the objectively second best Echo of Wisdom Echo right on top of the trees of the Eternal Forest, and if we then read the sign right as we walk into the Voiding Fog, and if we then hit the menu button while we are fading out, and if we then kill Zelda while the glitched menu is open, and if we then hit the load button when the game over screen pops up, and if we then align the reload button with an actual save that we made earlier in the game, and if we then quickly hit up and A while the screen fades to black, well, if we do all of this correctly, then by the magic of the sign, we find ourselves back at the spot where we attempted the glitch before. But we are no Zelda no more. We are now playing as Link. This little wrong warping glitch makes it possible to play the game as Link, like we play him at the very beginning of the game. And the game works surprisingly well, glitched out like this. We can explore the world.
So your problem about Nintendo's design philosophy is that glitches can happen that you have to do in such a specific way that they don't happen accidentally? Are we still not at the point of the video? Like, where is this going? Is this video getting into a midlife crisis?
World. We can warp around, we can fight enemies, do quests, and ride horses. We can even save the glitched game. This glitch truly allows us to swap characters, something quite strange and really unusual. Alright, that's pretty cool and hype, but why do I bring this up? Well, because I never performed the glitch myself. As a matter of fact, the footage of the glitch that we're just looking at is from YouTube videos by the channels Game is Lifer and Alio. So why did I not perform the glitch myself, one might ask? Well, most of you annoyingly smart viewers probably already know where this is headed, but we aren't quite ready to connect the dots yet.
What does that have to do with anything? Like, what the heck? 17 minutes and we're still, like, connecting some dots instead of... Tell us what your problem is with this. Like... If I wouldn't do a reaction to this, I would have stopped watching the video already, like, a long time ago. I now just want to get to the point, really, and see, like... Oh, gosh damn it.
Echoes of Wisdom features a surprising amount of different characters. There are the Soras of the river and the sea, there are the Dekos of the woods, there are the Gorons high up in the mountains, there is Impa, there are the Gerudos, there are the advisors.
Yes, there are a lot of characters.
There is the stamp guy. The land is just filled to the brim with a cast of different and diverse characters. But no matter how diverse all the characters may appear at first glance, there is one thing that all of them have in common. They all talk way too much. Whenever we reach a new area in the game, we're introduced to the plot of this area and all its inhabitants with a seemingly never-ending flood of chatter. Reading through all this dialogue always interrupts the gameplay, and at least I got tired of it really fast during my first playthrough. But luckily, this is only an issue the first time through, since we can always skip the cutscenes on replays, right? This here is the options menu of Echoes of Wisdom. So why are we looking at the options menu of Echoes of Wisdom? What has the options menu to do with a character swap glitch, the talkative characters in the game, and my abandoned challenge run? And wasn't this video supposed to be about a characteristic of modern Nintendo games? Well,
Yeah.
you see, there is something strange going on with Echoes of Wisdom's options menu, something that should allow us to tie all the loose threads together at once. The thing is right in front of us, because there is something really strange going on with the options menu. There is something missing. Do you notice it? Exactly, there is no options option in the options menu, apart from
That's not the options menu, it's called the system menu, and you have difficulty options here at least. So, okay, we lack options. Which option exactly are you really missing, honestly?
From changing the difficulty, Echoes of Wisdom has not a single option that allows us to customize how we play the game. Nothing. There is no way to reprogram buttons. There is no option.
You can reprogram buttons via the Switch itself. Yeah. I get the complaint. Let it be something that can be done in the game. Okay. Yes, that could be done. It would be better. But you can still remap the buttons of a controller in the Switch's menu, you know? So there still is the possibility.
Option to enlarge or hide the user interface. There is no way to make the minimap large.
Okay, you cannot enlarge or make the user interface invisible. I have one question about that. So what? The UI is, in its size, very solid. The size just works, it's okay. I have seen much worse, but honestly, most games don't let you mess with the UI like too much or even at all. It's not only Nintendo, you know.
Or to deactivate it. There is no way to speed up the text speed or to turn the tutorials off. There is no way to calibrate the brightness of the game or to switch between a performance and a graphics mode, something that Echoes.
The brightness, I mean, you can do that in your TV, you can do that on your Switch itself. So those options are in the system itself, not in the game. Okay. Graphics and performance mode, I mean, honestly, a lot of PS5 games do that, and I always play on graphics mode. I don't see any difference, to be honest. Neither in the performance nor in the graphics, so...
Echoes of Wisdom could have really benefited from, by the way. There's just nothing we can customize about our playthrough. Simply nothing. Echoes of Wisdom does not.
Also, the tutorial skipping, yeah, okay, but like, press the button a couple of times and be good with it. I mean, so what? The text speed, yeah, okay, but you can skip cutscenes. I think it's like pressing X or something and hold it. There was a way to skip cutscenes. You complain about there being text in a story game. Zelda games are telling you a story and you complain about there being text. The text speed, I get, okay, a bit more text speed. Yeah, it is helpful, but it's really not like that bad, to be honest.
Not give us any options on how we play the game. Instead, Nintendo has a clear vision in mind on how we ought to interact with the game and provides us with absolutely no options to interact with the game differently. And this very thing, the fact that modern
Also, about the skipping stuff. I have seen so many people trash talking games about like, it doesn't tell me where to go, it doesn't. And then you ask one question. Well, didn't you read the text? No, why would I? People don't read the text and then complain about not knowing where to go. Are you dumb? That's not directed at this specifically, but like, the text is there for a reason. Okay, make it skippable for another playthrough. Yeah, you could do that, but it missing is not that heavily of a thing, honestly.
Nintendo games do not give us options on how we interact with them. It's the very big problem that I have with Nintendo's design philosophy. Because if we stroll away from Nintendo's static vision on how we are meant to play the game, things become very frustrating, very fast. You see, the reason why I brought up that the characters in Echoes talk too much and that...
But do you realize what you're saying? You complain about you not being able to play the game as it was designed. You get what I mean, don't you? Games are designed in a specific way, and that's basically the way they are intended to be played. If you want to play them any more different, you can do that, of course, but don't complain about that not really working out, because you cannot design a game to cater to everybody's needs and wants. It's just not possible.
This interrupts the gameplay unnecessarily is because those story sections are not skippable in-game. It is not possible to skip the dialogue, but
I am pretty sure there was some way to skip them. It was like pressing X and holding X or something was there. I am pretty sure about that.
See, an option to skip a cutscene is an option. It is an option that allows us to choose how we interact with the game. The option to skip cutscenes is as much an option as an option to reprogram the button layout is. Not being able to skip something is once again the game forcing a certain experience onto the players. But what about the character swap glitch? Well, Nintendo patched this glitch within weeks after the game's release. It is no longer possible to perform the glitch in the current version of the game.
How dare Nintendo patch a glitch? Yeah, I want my games broken. What are you on about? Of course they patched this glitch and they do it fast. That's a good thing. You can have fun with this glitch. I get that. It can be an interesting playthrough using that glitch. But at the end of the day, it is a glitch that is not supposed to be there. So of course it will be patched out. Why wouldn't they? Like, go play Sonic Boom!
You see, once Nintendo patched the glitch, there is no way to ever get back to a previous version of the game if we own the game digitally. And if we own a physical copy of the game, things are only marginally better. In that case, we have to factory reset our Switch to be able to play the game again on the version we own. Once a Nintendo game is updated, there is no reasonable option to ever return back to a previous version of the game. And this
That's absolutely not true for a physical game. You can delete the game's data, and then you have to, like, disable internet connection, and then play it. You can easily go back to the version you have on your physical card. Like this. Shit, this is empty. Damn it. You can do that! That's no problem at all. There is a possibility. And if you complain that you have to turn off the internet for that, guess what? These updates are there for a reason, and while they are forced upon you, that just makes sense, because they go with better stability and everything. You want these updates. Yes, sometimes updates destroy more things than they fix. That is true as well, but it's just... You are complaining about having to update your game to make it work more smoothly. Do you want your food to taste not as good? Leave the seasoning out because that's like how it was when I bought it? Like, no, you cook your food.
This is once again a lacking option, and it is something Nintendo specific. You know, Steam, for example, allows...
Okay, I don't know about Steam, but like, you cannot do this on the PS5 as well. You cannot uninstall updates on the PS5 as well. It is not Nintendo exclusive. That is just not true.
Allows us to install every build of a game that ever went live on the platform. It's a bit finicky to do, but if we really want to install an old version of a game, it is easily possible. Sony at least allows us to easily roll back to an older version of a game if we own it physically. It is just Nintendo that really goes out of their way to make it almost impossible to play.
The way you do it with Sony's physical games is exactly the same way you do it on the Switch. It is exactly the same. What are you talking about? Do you just want to hate on Nintendo here?
Play games on an old version. It is once.
I mean, okay, you cannot play on a specific version. You can play on the initial version, only on physical, and on the most updated version. Yes, okay, Steam allows for more. Good for Steam, but honestly, you cannot think about you yourself. These games aren't made for all those people who are doing like, I want this specific version to do this specific glitchy run. No. Games are made for a broad audience, for everyone to play them. And 99% of the people who play these games do not care about these glitches. They want the best performing version, and they get that with the updates most of the time. You are complaining about something that is basically a niche thing for only a handful of people. Like, even I, who do sometimes do challenge runs on some things. It's rare, I'm not a huge challenge run guy, but I choose a challenge I can do on whatever version. Like, most challenge runners do the runs just on either the initial or the most updated version and not on some specific version. That's like something not done that much. Why? Why should they invest the time and money to cater to the needs of you couple of thousand people instead of concentrating on the millions of people? Why would they do that? This is such an egotistical thing to say here. And it makes me angry if you can't tell.
Once again, Nintendo going out of the way to not give us options on how we interact with the game. It is once again Nintendo forcing us to interact with the game in a certain way they envision.
No, they don't get out of their way to don't give you options. If you would include these options, that would require additional programming. And that would be going out of their way to give you these options. I agree to a certain degree that some options are lacking. Text speed being one of them. Cutscenes automatically being skipped. I don't know. Do we need that? Make cutscenes skippable. And like I said, I am pretty sure in Echoes of Wisdom you can. I do know you can in Luigi's Mansion, the remake of 2, Dark Moon. And other games as well. It's not all Nintendo games. Okay, sometimes cutscenes aren't skippable. And for a subsequent playthrough, you might want to do that. I agree to that degree, but like, come on. What are you even complaining about?
Those two things, the missing option to skip cutscenes and the missing option to somehow roll back my game's version, are the reason why I ended up not trying to beat Echoes of Wisdom with the fewest non-table summons possible. So here's the thing, routing a table percent route through Echoes would require me to beat the game at least 2 more times, probably even more. And I don't mind playing through the game a couple more times, testing strategies, routing things, trying different Echo loadouts and dropping thousands of tables. All of that sounds like a great time to me. But I do not want to watch every single cutscene in the game 3 more times again. There is so much dialogue in the game, so much slow and game pace breaking dialogue that beating the game another 3 times would have meant that
No, it's only game pace breaking when you don't play the game as you are intended to do, which is enjoying the story and enjoying the gameplay. If you do want to skip those cutscenes, I get it for a subsequent playthrough. I get it. I totally get it. But just skip through them. And maybe I am wrong and you can really not skip them. Though I have a feeling there was a way, but... No, actually, I'm pretty sure there was a way. I am pretty sure there was a way to skip them. But nonetheless, endure it and be good. Like, you are making a mountain out of not a molehill, but of the shit of a fly.
That I'd be forced to watch unskippable scenes that I have already seen for upwards of 12 hours.
I am pretty sure, like, I lost some kind of fight and then had to try again after reloading, and I am pretty sure I skipped that cutscene before that. I am like 90% sure I did that. So maybe you should try what you can do before you complain.
Again, and I just don't want to spend 12 hours of my limited lifetime watching the Soras quarrel it out for the 4th time. Meanwhile, I was super excited to toy around with the wrong warping glitch that allows us to play as Link, messing around on the Hyrule Overworld map as Link just sounded like a good time to me, more like a feature to embrace than a bug that needed fixing. It just annoyed.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm so sad. They patched out this way. This looked like an interesting way to play it. Oh, cry, cry, cry. They didn't let me use this glitch that is possibly game-breaking. Like they should. You cannot complain about them removing a glitch. You cannot complain about that. Are you an idiot?
Me that this option was removed from the game, but that's not even the main problem.
No, this was not an option removed from the game. This wasn't an option. It was a glitch, gosh darn it.
See, the wrong warping glitch not only allowed us to play as Link, it also allowed us to wrong warp to many different places in the game, including to the end of the game. A trick that speedrunners are already using. Being able to warp to lots of places we're not supposed to be at would have been incredibly useful for routing the game, using nothing but a table. But there's just...
But these games are not made for speedrunning, nor for challenging runs like the table run. They are not made for that, so you cannot complain. Okay, I complain. Hi. Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom. Why don't I have the best equipment right at the get-go? I want to do that. Why can't I? Why don't you give me that option? Also, I want to play as Banjo from Banjo and Kazooie, not as Link. Why can't I? That's stupid. Why? Give me a glitch that does that. Why aren't you? Bad, Nintendo. That's the level you are talking about. It's sheer stupidity here.
No way for me to mess around with this anymore. I own the game digitally and it is on version 1.0.2. The only option left for me to ever play the game on 1.0 is to hunt down a release day copy of the game and to factory reset my Switch, which, you know, that's just no...
You don't have to factory reset your Switch to do that!
Real option. And this is the reason why I ended up not replaying the game with a little self-set challenge, because there is no option for me to play the game on the version that would make the most sense for such a challenge, and because playing the game like this would have forced me to watch hours of unskippable cutscenes and dialogue. Cutscenes that already bored me the first time I saw them. But all of this is just a small personal anecdote. Are those things really problems with Nintendo's games, or am I just salty because I didn't get to tale myself through Echoes of Wisdom? To which the answer is yes. Of course I was salty, but I also do think that those are real issues that need addressing. You see, what I wanted to do was to interact with the game in a way that Nintendo did not intend. They likely never considered that someone wants to replay the game using nothing but tables.
Have you just realized that you said you want to play the game in the way that the developer did not intend it to be played? Do you get what that means? They cannot program a game so that it can be played in every way that they do not intend it to be, but in weirder ways. It's just not possible. You cannot make a game like that. You just can't.
And the second someone wants to interact with a game in a way that Nintendo did not intend, the lack of options becomes a problem. Not having an option to skip a cutscene or to somehow speed up dialogue is no problem for a first playthrough of a game. It is, however, a problem if we want to route a challenge run, or if we want to do a speed run of the game, or if we want...
Yeah, I agree that it is a problem for a speed run of the game, except it is not, because everybody has to go through that, so everybody has to take that drop in their time when it comes to the speed. And these games aren't made for speed runs, so you cannot complain about a game not being playable in a way that is just however you as a singular person, an individual, want to play it. This isn't a game made just for you. What the heck?
Want to glitch hunt, find glitches in the game, or even if we just want to replay the game soon after beating it for the first time. Not having an option to skip the dialogue is massively hurting replayability. The same is true for there not being any reasonable options to downgrade the game's version. Playing on the most recent version of a game is almost always the best choice for a first playthrough of a game. But what if we are interacting with the game in an unintended way? What if we're speedrunning?
Because that's unintended! Google that word before using it. I cannot stand it. Okay. Okay, let's have a look in the comments. What do they say? Okay. Soon as he said that there's no options in the option, and instantly, yeah, okay. One option. Yeah, that's like lacking options, of course. Just the controller vibration. Fine. I don't miss any option in that game, to be honest. As a game dev, oh, that's interesting. As a game dev, your line about accessibility definitely fits a lot of what we encounter when making such features. The way I usually present it is that you make accessibility features to tackle a specific problem. What if I heard of people wanting to play the game? Let's add What if hard of hearing people want to play the game? Let's add subtitles. Yes, I agree to that. Which is fine enough on its own. But you end up with a lot of feedbacks of people using the feature in an unexpected way. With subtitles, we get people to play without sound because their family is around. Or parents who don't want to miss their kids waking up, or people playing in a different audio language that they don't understand but still wanting to get the information. Like, I prefer playing Japanese audio, but I need subtitles for that. Which ultimately also circles back to your point about letting you play the way you want, even if it wasn't intended. But you cannot give options for all of that. Okay. Yeah, this is all about subtitles. What do we have here? Bro finally remembered his YouTube password, okay. Really? Nobody complaining about this? I get the impression that Nintendo really wants to have a reputation of flawless games with no major glitches. That's a good thing, I would say. They patch things left and right, stop selling old games that they can't really focus on supporting. Hence the whole why can't I buy Game Boy games anymore, even on new consoles issue. And restrict the player's options, as more options just leads to more potential places that glitches can pop up. The fewer ways there are for someone to play a game, the easier it is for them to focus on making those specific ways as glitch-free as possible. True. Okay. They stopped selling old games because people don't buy them. Virtual Console was an enormous flop all 3 times they tried. Yeah. Fixing bugs that affect the casual experience, crashes, softlocks options, or quality of life breaking things you'd run into without meaning to, is good. But going out of the way to fix something that people only ever really trigger if they're purposefully trying to do it, why? Because it can still lead to any kind of error. The bug that could be done when transitioning screens was used in speedruns, but it could also be done quite easily by accident. He patched it so it could be done, but only if you're holding a specific button. Reduce it. Really, like, do people not see the stupidness of this? He complains mostly about things that you cannot do anymore that are in regards to some weird challenge runs. So I'm glad the reason for this vid didn't turn out to be just my arbitrary challenge run was impossible. Nintendo sucks. No, that's like basically what he says though. Small text in game. Yeah, that's a big problem. Definitely. This is not about accessibility though. Yeah, I guess we're done here. I can't agree to this. I can't agree to this at all. No, I will still link his channel in the description, obviously, because that's just what you gotta do, but tell me in the comments what you think. Are you on his side? Are you on my side? I think, like, he complains about them fixing glitches. He complains about that and not having the option to go back to whatever version you want, which it's a nice option to have, maybe, but it's really not a necessary thing. That's just no. Yeah. Check out this other video here as well, and we'll see each other next time. So yeah, be there Saturday for my birthday stream as well. That will be great. Until that time, bye, B.